Good morning. Welcome again to the starting lineup. I'm Tony Kurre, along with Kip Keefer, my good friend and partner here in the starting lineup. We got, of course, the Legend's going to be on the show a little bit later on. Case Keefer live in the desert. We'll go to Ground Zero out there in Las Vegas, and of course, a lot going on in the world of sports. You and I did an interesting show on Tony Kurre Radio called the Keefer and Kurre Show about our favorite month of sports.
Yes.
What's the favorite month of the year? And your favorite month was?
October, because we're right in the middle of football season. We've got the World Series, all of the other leagues, hockey and
NBA,
basketball
hockey.
cranked up. It's just the most wonderful time of the year. But there's some other good ones. April, very, very good sports month.
April's very good. I mentioned, I think, only 30 times in sports history where we had the big four, NHL, Major League Baseball, NBA, all four of those leagues playing on the same day at the same time. It's only happened 30 times. But there's another month coming up, next month, that is famous for flowers, but also for this, and down the stretch they come. Yes, the Kentucky Derby. And I'm telling you, man, I'm not about coincidences. God placed me in Louisville, Kentucky for 3 years of my career just to appreciate what you love about horse racing. That's going on next weekend. Before we get into some Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA playoffs, I want to ask you about Bob Baffert coming back after being off for 3 years or being thrown out for 3 years, depending on how you look at it. How do you look at him in the sport, his legacy now?
I think it's unassailable in terms of what he's accomplished. I'm a little bit of a Baffert apologist because a couple of the direct violations that he has been ultimately, the buck stops at his desk.
Sure.
But his assistant trainer, Jimmy Barnes, is the one who got him in trouble in the last Derby when he was being supposedly treated for some kind of sinus problem or I don't know. I don't remember all the story. But supposedly whatever drug was introduced into the system of that horse was the same stuff that he was on, and it was not performance enhancing at all. But in Kentucky especially, really severe rules that a horse can't run on an aspirin. Yep. Unless they are already approved for Lasix or one of the other Bute or one of the other medications that they have to register for. So, I mean, I think Baffert organization has played a little fast and loose with the rules. They've used some compounds for healing purposes on horses, and they've kind of rolled the dice that the time limit was going to run out and they were going to be okay by race day and miscalculated. I really don't believe that Baffert intentionally cheats. He's too successful. And he's had too many winners and has
many people would say that's why he's been successful.
Yeah, but why didn't all those horses test positive?
Well, I knew there was something up when they had those giant breathe rights across their nose. I knew that he had something going on with his breathe rights. In the annals of sports, with the Black Sox, Deflategate, the Houston Astros cheating in the World Series, where do you put what he's done? Because it's obviously the biggest and most prolific race period every year, the Kentucky Derby is, when it comes to horse racing.
Well, he's only had one Derby horse disqualified.
Okay, well, only
it isn't
one,
like multiple ones.
But still, he's had one disqualified in the biggest race of his life. Now he's obviously won many
But
of those.
if you talk, and I'm in these circles through my my day job as the director of the Birmingham Race Course, if you go to the conventions and talk to vets, what he was nailed in Kentucky for in the Derby was not a performance enhancer. Yeah. So it'd make no sense if horses have some medicinal compounds in their system and they miscalculate and they still are able to show up, and the tests are extremely sensitive. If it doesn't get a horse to run faster, then I don't think. Now, there's been some real big scandals in recent years of other trainers. Rick Dutrow, who's a major trainer, was suspended 10 years, and now he's just come back after a 10-year suspension for having performance-enhancing drugs in the systems of horses. So I think there's a different threshold of those. Baffert and them might be guilty of being clueless in some cases, or careless is a better word, but I don't think they've outwardly cheated.
Even Dutch got a chance to come back. Pete Rose did, but Dutch did after 10 years.
Exactly.
You know, it's really interesting, too, because I was up at Lexington, Kentucky several weeks ago for the first and second rounds of March Madness, and my son was with me, and I said, man, get ready to see some fences. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, it's the most beautiful part. I would separate it almost like the Grand Canyon. It's unlike anything you'll see. The grass is so beautifully green. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of fences. And I said, there's nothing like you're driving down the interstate, and you'll look to your left, and you'll see a black stallion running alongside your vehicle down the middle of, I mean, it's the most amazing thing you'll ever see. And that is, I mean, it's, people are taking pictures. It's the most beautiful part. I know Churchill Downs. I've been there numerous times. My boss, John Page Otting, God rest his soul, used to own a radio station in Jeffersonville, Indiana, which is right across the river from Louisville. And he used to have a book over. We used to do a big party every year. But we also went to Keeneland. And I would say, for my money, Keeneland, my favorite place to go see a race. I mean, it's just, I mean, Barber Motorsports is the racing equivalent of what Keeneland is to horse racing. The grounds are beautiful.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And we were able to take a tour of one of the major horse farms a couple of years ago on a trip to the national conference there. And one of the best things, you ought to see the quarters that these big stud stallions. That's a tough life after they retire. That's their job. Mm-hmm. When that winding road down at the bottom of the hill, the trailer comes up bringing a mare to be bred. Every single one of them sticks their head out of the stove.
They do.
Hey,
they
yeah,
do.
baby, it's my day.
They do.
So it's really amazing, and to watch that process. Not too romantic, but very intense, and it's amazing. The whole breeding part of the industry is fascinating. So horse racing, and just like we talked about with the Masters is not just a golf tournament. It's the Masters. It's the same. I have the same feeling for the Derby. There's thousands and tens of thousands of horse races every year in America. Yeah. There's only one Kentucky Derby.
You're like Keefer driving through a nursing home. Yeah, baby, here we go. He's ready to play some bingo with the ladies and start knocking it out. He's out the pasture.
Yeah.
So NBA playoffs, want to mention that. Boston, OKC, Cleveland, the big three.
Yep.
And it seems like everyone else is playing for second as of right now, but we will have some upsets, and I know you've liked several different things. Any big surprises so far in the NBA, and then we'll get into some NHL?
I don't think surprises. I'm not surprised that Houston and Golden State are off to such a competitive start. We'll have to find out what Jimmy Butler's status is coming into I believe it's tonight's game, but he took a terrible fall in game 2 and only played 8 minutes in that game, and Houston evened the series. But that series already is so physical. There was all kinds of dust-ups and fights. That one, I think, is going to go all 7 games. The Pistons and the Knicks, I thought the Pistons were young and athletic and give the Knicks some problems. So that's a real intriguing series. But, yeah, you mentioned the 3 big teams. Folks, in the first 2 games, if you cumulatively bet Memphis plus 69, you lost because they lost by a combined 70 points in those 2 games.
As you can tell a lot if you go to K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. It's our website. We do handicapping, we do horse racing, we do women's softball, we do NBA, NFL, you name it, it's on there. K4Wins.com. We'll talk about it a little bit later on in the show. Some of the lines, pick'ems, +1s, -1s in the NBA, and of course we know there's a huge home court advantage of that, so it's been just a great run. NHL, a lot of people don't talk about that. Of course, we have our Bulls here. Some people like to go check out some hockey here as well, but I know you're a big Las Vegas Knight fan. Tampa Bay and the Florida series was very interesting when it started.
Competitive.
Anything striking you there?
Well, maybe the best series is the Kings from Los Angeles. The Colorado Avalanche series. The Kings at Edmonton, very compelling too. This is the 4th straight year they've played in the first round, so they know each other pretty well. The Colorado Avalanche Dallas series, a couple of those games have already gone into overtime. Really dramatic stuff and fantastic goaltending. And even if you're not a hockey fan, playoff hockey is at a whole different level. The intensity, every shift, every bounce of the puck. A lot of games go into sudden death overtime. They don't do these little mini overtimes and shootouts like they do in the regular season. If it's still tied after 2 or 3 overtime periods, I've watched games that have gone 4 and 5 overtimes that don't end until 3 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. And how those guys can physically withstand that is just absolutely unbelievable what hockey players do.
Starting lineup every Saturday morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock. This is the last Saturday of the month of April. We have the Kentucky Derby next weekend. And, of course, along with this weekend comes a lot of college football showcases. People aren't doing games anymore. They're doing showcases where you can get autographs and food, and they've got Kona Ice and the whole 9 yards. So no matter where you're going or who your favorite team is, we hope you're enjoying some college football because that bad boy is right around the corner.
It's going to be here before you know it.
It will be, and we're going to be all over it, so we're really looking forward to it. Legends coming up here as well as Case. His picks from the desert on the way in the starting lineup.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where a spin could turn dreams into reality. Meet Sammy F., who just won over $70,000. And Orlando P., hitting the jackpot with a whopping $100,000. Feel the thrill of winning and join the dance of champions.
Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Your chance to be the next big winner is here at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Oh, welcome to the Legend Cave. I'm in here at the Legend Cave, and the great Monty Bauer just hit me right in the numbers. I got my main man, Keefer, here with me today, hanging out on a Saturday. Keefer, no football, man. What are we going to do? I don't know what's going to happen. Bear told me this morning that he's about to have a breakdown. I'm about to have a breakdown. I mean, what we got, Keefer?
I'm so ready for football season.
Already.
I've got some friends, including Don, who was on our show.
Who?
The Auburn fan.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I understand why you
All right.
selectively forgot about that. Don keeps wanting me to get involved with the Birmingham Stallions, and believe me, I salute the Birmingham Stallions. They've won like 3 championships in a row. They never lose. It's a fantastic organization. But, Legend, with all the other sports and playoffs and baseball and just thinking about real football, and again, that's no slam on the Stallions, but my dance card is pretty full. So
Pretty full, eh?
I just don't have a lot of time for UFL action right now.
Now, I will tell you something, Skip Holtz. I watched you last week, and the Legend was impressed. Now, Keefer done got slim. He's an international playboy all over the world, but I'm still a couch potato, Skip. And I like what I seen in them Stallions last week.
Man, they are awesome.
Is there a bigger dynasty in football than the Stallions?
They're like Lombardi and the Green Bay Packers.
Skip Holtz, I mean, the dude need to be in the NFL. If I was the Colts owner, you have a job today. There ain't no doubt. Just a great coach, a great organization. We love you, Stallions. But we got a question from Dorothy this week.
What did Dorothy want to know? How to get back from Oz?
Yeah, want to know how to get back from Oz. Wants to know, Dorothy sent in a question this week. Wants to know if Coach DeBoer don't make the playoffs next year, what will be his status?
Boy, he will be on the ultimate hot seat. I think the commitment will probably go beyond that. But, I mean, with a 12-team playoff ledge, if he doesn't make it this year, there's going to be a lot of unhappy campers. You already said, going down to the A-Day game, there's only 1,500 or 15,000 people. Not 1,500 would have really been a problem. 15,000 people. So already coming off a 4-loss season, there might be a little bit of decline in enthusiasm. He better revive that because this franchise just doesn't accept mediocrity.
Well, I want to put it like this, Dorothy, from the Legend. I got one thing to say to you. 1-800-U-Haul is the best thing I can say to you. If he don't make the playoffs this year, he's leaving or the Legend's leaving. And I got a lease on the Legend Cave for the next 10 years. I ain't going nowhere, Kipper.
No.
I'm right here, baby. So you better get it together. Now, Billy Bob over here, I see he got a question in Hoover. It's question and answer day here.
Okay.
He wants to know, do you see the Alabama basketball team returning to the Elite 8 or Final Four next year under Nate Oates?
Yeah, I think Nate probably learned a lot this year. I mean, the way they play offense is the way I think basketball was designed to do. Get the ball, get it down the court, don't give the defense a chance to set up. And take a lot of threes, make a lot of threes, but they have to get better at defending the major weapons of the other teams. A lot of the most successful coaches ever in all sports, you just don't let the superstar beat you. And I don't think Nate Oates' system is really designed to take a wedge in I Broom or a superstar scorer. And they really have to put more emphasis on that at the defensive end instead of just worrying about, hopefully getting the rebound and getting on the run out on offense. It's really a two-sided game. You got to play on both ends of the court.
Well, I'm going to say this to you. I think Nate Oates is the greatest coach ever at the University of Alabama. I like what he's doing with the roster next year. He's got Aiden Holloway back. He's got Latrell Wrightsell Jr. back. He's got Houston Mallett back. He's got a big 7'1" kid coming in that was Player of the Year in the Patriot League.
Yep.
So I like what Nate Oates is doing. The state of Alabama has blowed up in basketball, ladies and gentlemen. We just want to know where you at, UAB. Where you at, UAB? Come on, catch up. Where you at? Come on. Hey, we got another question we're going to get in right here from David Legend down in Walker County. We love you, Big Dave.
David's got a question.
Big brother. He wants to know right quick. We got 30 seconds. Who's winning the NBA final?
I like the Oklahoma City Thunder, Ledge. These guys are ridiculous. The first game against Memphis, 131-80. That's a 51-point blowout. That's absurd in the NBA.
Hey, listen, David Legend, I love this man. He's a great man, but I'm riding with you, brother. You know them Celtics are repeating. Hey, remember, it's just a game. Don't be like Keefer, the Bear, and the Legend. Sports insane.
We'll talk about K4 Wins here in just a few minutes. Handicapping site. Everyone's gambling. Everyone's doing FanDuel, whatever. You can do it. Of course, check it out, K4Wins.com. It's a free website. You can also subscribe to it. Kai Gregory puts that thing together for us. He puts our plays out and does a wonderful job. He's with Southern Precision Staffing. He's got a day job that he just absolutely annihilates the competition, and he does a wonderful job. If you need any type of staffing, if you're into welding, you do any type of skill work, man, call them up, 682-2828, 205-682-2828. They do fantastic work. It is Southern Precision Staffing. Southern Precision Staffing for all your staffing needs. A word and a handshake will get it done with Southern Precision Staffing. Also, my good friend at the Woodhouse Day Spa, Stuart Rome. He was going to be on the show, but he is at Jazz Fest this weekend.
Oh,
yeah,
Stuart's a man of the world.
Jazz Fest is down there. I think he's seeing some Lenny Kravitz. I think Lenny Kravitz is down there, so some fantastic blues acts down there. But he will join the show a little bit later on. They do wonderful work there at the Woodhouse Day Spa, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Now, K4Wins.com, this man right here has been kind of hot.
Well, a blind squirrel finds an acorn every once in a while, but this is my time of year. I love the playoffs because I'm not really, unlike my son, who's an expert handicapper, but he is really into the numbers part of it, Tony. And the numbers are important, and I trust data, but I trust what I see and what I watch and what I kind of feel in these series. And when you have these series of games, sort of like baseball as well, because there are always 3 or 4 game series. Yep. Once you get into those situations, you kind of start to get a feel for things of who might have some edges and who probably should have won the game before and didn't. So a lot of those patterns, I think, really kind of emanate. And I've had some good success with some over-unders early on. So the totals for the games. So it's a lot of fun. We've got experts, Case and Kai and Tony, all making their contributions. We have to have some consensus before they'll go up on the site, but it's absolutely free. Philosophically, we don't believe in trying to hornswoggle you out of your hard-earned cash.
No.
We want to make you cash by sharing our expertise. So check it out, K4 Wins. It's a guaranteed winner.
And we'll be on a brand new platform called the Coastal Sports Network.
Nice.
Starting here in the 1st of May. We've been waiting to get on this where they have a lot of listeners. And, of course, along with the listeners, we have a Tony Kurre Radio. So we're going to be all over the place, so it's going to be fantastic. Guy that gets a lot of readers, Las Vegas Sun, Case Keefer, has got his plays this weekend.
Here's Case.
Hey, it's Case Keefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters as part of the starting lineup. I am the assistant sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun, Las Vegas Weekly, longtime sports betting writer, and sports bettor. Kind of a weird week to be coming to you this week. We're kind of in the middle of these NHL and NBA playoff series, so can't really give out too many bets or break down the odds of that as well with the filming schedule. I gave an NFL draft bet, or 2 last week, but now that's finishing up. this morning, so I thought we'd do something special, and it was kind of a mistake, but I started looking at some things I could talk about. We have an Alabama theme this week, so we're going to still coming to you from Las Vegas, but I think all the bets have some ties down there to the south this week. We'll start off with a couple of niche sports like we often do on here. Let's start with golf, where we have the Alabama tie through Justin Thomas, who prevails in the RBC Heritage last week. Now, I wasn't on him, but if you caught the segment, I gave out a couple of plays to start our portfolio with the PGA Championship on. I gave out Colin Morikawa at 25-1 and Xander Schauffele at 17-1. Those are still two of my favorite bets, probably the two best out there. So if you missed last week, those are the two to get. But one of the guys that was on the list that I was next kind of considering wanting to get on was Justin Thomas at 25-1, which was widely available before his win at the RBC Heritage. At least here in Vegas, I'm kind of shocked. I don't know if someone's asleep at the wheel. They just don't have any bets on the guy, but he stayed at 25-1 at least one sports book. I think that is good for a bet. He's already won 2 PGA championships, this one at Quail Hollow, where he hasn't had as much success, but it seems to kind of match up with his game. And again, I've been saying it all year. This guy is playing extremely well. He had the long drought without a victory that I think brought people off the scent. Even though he's not 25-1 everywhere, I still think almost everywhere he's 20-1, which I think is fine. You could still bet some 20-1. I would say pump the brakes there. No lower than that. But the bottom line is this is a top 5 player in the world. He kind of slipped for a while and had people lose the scent. Now he won at the RBC. I think he's proven he's there. If you want to take a bite at 20-1, again, I would prioritize Morikawa at 25 and Xander Schauffele at 17 like I gave out last week. But I'm trying to build up that portfolio, get a lot of guys at what are going to be advantageous prices once that tournament goes off here in about a month. And Justin Thomas, especially if you can get 25-1, is a guy worth adding. So that does it for golf. How about NASCAR this weekend? We had the Easter break. Now we are back at Talladega. I know everyone there has to be fired up, but I got to tell you, I kind of hate betting these races, both Talladega and Daytona. I've told myself so many times, and I'm sure anyone that bets NASCAR has gone through similar things, like just don't bet the drafting tracks. There's just so much randomness, so much going to come down to who avoids the collision. There's no point in getting too involved, especially with lower odds guys. And yet, what do you know? Once again, here I am. I bet one of the favorites. I've already got some bets on the race, so I thought might as well share them, just give some of my general viewpoints. Odds really vary drastically depending on what book you look at, so maybe if I just give some general thoughts on the race, you could look and see what you think this weekend. I've only actually made 2 bets, 2 outright bets. One thing I am looking at, though, and I think I will get on eventually, is I like Ford as the winning manufacturer. You go back to Daytona, which the only kind of data point we have that's going to be anything like Talladega so far. Ford just had all the speed. Of course, the accidents at the end, they don't end up winning. William Byron goes back-to-back with a crazy win. But I think Ford, right now, plus 150. I think they're like neck and neck with Chevrolet at most of the books for winning manufacturer. I think that's a little too high. I'm going to wait till a few other books open, see if I can get a little better price, let kind of the market solidify before I really jump in. But I'm really looking at Ford this week. I think I will bet at plus 150. Winning manufacturer. Obviously, they have not been as good as a Toyota or certainly Chevy to start the season, but you kind of throw all that out. All those other tracks don't really matter when you go to a super speedway, when everything's totally different like it will be here in Talladega, especially in matchups, which is what I bet the most. I'm going to be looking for some of those head-to-heads that have Ford drivers against their Chevy or Toyota counterparts that have been better on the season. I think there is a lot of value on Ford, which brings me to the aforementioned lowly priced outright that I bet. Probably not the best decision, just because I do feel like at Talladega you want guys that are longer odds. You kind of want to start in that 20-1 territory. But I took Joey Logano at 12-1. He looked so good at Daytona before getting involved in a wreck and not ultimately getting the win there. Ryan Blaney, kind of the favorite over him at most sports books. At least here in Vegas, it was kind of Ryan Blaney 10-1, Joey Logano 12-1. Maybe I'm a little too bullish, but I actually have Logano as a slightly better value going into this race, or at least them head-to-head should be the 2 favorites to me. So I took a little nibble on Joey Logano at 12-1. That's where I will be starting my portfolio. I'm going to kind of contradict everything else. I said the only other driver I have bet outright, I bet Chase Elliott at 20-1. He's been one of the best super speedway drivers for a few years now. I think he is going to get a win eventually on that. So looking for the Fords, Logano and Elliott, the 2 drivers I bet in NASCAR. I'm also diving into a lot of other futures now that we're kind of past college basketball, college football obviously over, but I'm looking ahead to next year's college football now that we have more rosters set in place. We have some data available. We've had spring games. I got to say, a macro assessment to me of the SEC, I've been all about the favorites in the SEC over the last few years. Georgia, Texas last year, I just thought they were a cut above everyone. throw that out this year. I got to tell you, I like the second tier of teams. If you look at the odds, even more than I like Georgia and Texas, I think might take a little step back. You saw a bunch of Longhorns go in this latest draft. I think you saw Georgia kind of decline last year despite winning the SEC. Give me the Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss tier. I really think one of these second tier teams is going to break through in the SEC this year. I've already made some bets on college football. Don't necessarily want to give them all away right now, but that is a way I'm looking in the SEC, and I will give you out one Heisman bet. I have made probably my favorite one, another SEC. If this team does it, I think it's going to be because of this guy, DJ Lagway, 25-1 to win the Heisman at a big national sports book. You look at the progression he made from the beginning of last year to the end, it was just unbelievable. I know he wasn't Heisman level at the end of last year, but now you give him several months. I think Florida has a chance to be really good this year. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but 25-1, I think he should be more down in like the 15-12 range. So that's my first Heisman bet of the year. Thanks for catching another edition of the Vegas Eaters.
You know, I don't think any doubt, certainly in this town, everyone loves to gamble on college football.
Yes.
And then, of course, try to make it up on Sunday, and then, of course, try to blow the wad there on Monday night. We know how that goes. When it comes to gambling, though, because I know that you're the executive director of the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, you can do a lot of things out there, and we say this is kind of a weird time because basketball season's over, despite the NBA, obviously, college hoops is over, and you got the NHL. A lot of people don't know how to play that or know how to bet money lines in Major League Baseball. When you talk about the Derby, though, you are really good at horses. First of all, I want you to tell me, can you tell if a horse is going to run well just based on looking at it as opposed to looking at its track record?
Certainly at this level, these are some of the highest end bred horses in the world. And there are some that really stand out physically,
Okay.
just like any other athlete. If you went and saw Michael Jordan warming up, I mean, he just stood out over everybody else.
Our good friend Herb Winches used to tell me to look for dapples on the ass.
Yeah, well,
on the back part of the dapples.
Well, you'll hear all these paddock, mostly female reporters, and that's always the main thing. He looks great. His coat is completely dappled out,
Yeah.
which I guess just means that he's thriving and he's health-wise. It's just a sign of vitality. But, you know, at the end of the day, there's one thing that you can't look at in a racehorse, particularly a 3-year-old running in front of 175,000 people in an arena, a 20-horse race. What you can't see is their heart, and Tony, that is the determining factor. You've got horses that are physical specimens. You've got horses that have overachieved. But on that stage, to me, the horse that just shows the most desire, and you look for that in some of their other races, horses maybe that overcame adversity and still were so competitive that they wanted to win. The heart is the key to the Kentucky Derby.
From the handicapping to going to the window to placing the bet to watching the sport and coming in a winner, what's your favorite thing to gamble on?
Oh,
Is it horse racing?
I would say so, just because I've had a lifetime at that.
Yeah.
My dad was taking me, I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area as a young man, and every Saturday I was at Laurel or Bowie or Pimlico, whatever was open at the time in Maryland. Mm-hmm. I didn't learn to read by C-spot run. I learned to read by saying, boy, this 7-horse can really run. So my whole education was started with horse racing back in the day. My dad loved it. He wasn't very good at it. I was a better handicapper than him when I was in the 3rd grade, but that's rest his soul. No offense, Dad. But the bottom line is, there's nothing like being at the Derby or the Breeders' Cup or the really high-end races. I just love it. I love going to Saratoga every summer. I missed last year after getting to go 2 years in a row, so it's just something different. The Breeders' Cup this year is at Del Mar, where the turf meets the surf.
Yes.
Right on the Pacific Ocean.
Beautiful.
And I'm going to move whatever mountains I need to move to be there in November.
Sport of Kings, fastest 2 minutes in sports. And, of course, Kip Keefer will be there. Check us out here, K4Wins.com for plays every single day. It's free. Subscribe to our website. Check us out on the TV show every single Saturday morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock on ABC 3340. This is the starting lineup.